listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Bachelorette After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Bachelorette After Show.
Really, Steven?
It's how you feel. Very Empire Strikes Back.
Wow, what's up, AfterBuzz TV Nation? With over 27 million weekly downloads listened to in 100 different countries, we're your one stop and one destination for true after-show entertainment. I'm JC, and this is The Bachelorette Season 10, Episode 11 and Episode 12 after the final rose. And yes, that was an auspicious start. We have multiple cups. I'm going to have to double fist it tonight because what did I just see tonight? There's a lot that we have to break down. And
Yeah.
Oh boy. I don't know how I feel about this tonight, guys. Let's introduce our wonderful host, starting with the lovely lady in, is that Emerald Green?
Emerald Green, we'll go with it. Jewel Tones.
Jill Towns.
Look good on camera.
Cathy Kelley.
Hey.
And of course, the man sporting the hat. I think he's starting Paradise a week early. That's right. The man, the myth, the legend. That's right, Danny
I'm starting
Hoyt.
Paradise a week early. Hi guys, Danny Hoyt with you. I'm gutted.
He lives in Santa Monica, so it's paradise year-round, pretty much.
That is so
Palm
true.
trees and beaches.
Hashtag palms.
72 and sunny. There we go.
I'm just gutted for my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because
Glad.
we've got a lot. Thank you for tuning in, guys. I think this week we're all going to learn a lot of stuff of what went down, and hopefully some great insight that we have because you actually got to spend some time with Nick. But we'll get into that a little bit
Like
later.
5 minutes. Let's be honest.
Limited.
Let's be honest. Like 5 minutes.
Limited. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, should I start with the usual overall thoughts?
Andy's parents were harsh.
Yo, Hai has
Damn.
some like mean eyes.
I mean, I think that they do
He
really.
doesn't mean it mean. Yeah.
They clearly care about her, but they were very, I feel like, tough on the guys. They said that Nick was too nervous, and they said that Josh was too boisterous. So really, no one's winning here.
Well, but they both got approval.
They did both get approval, but like they find something wrong with any guy that she dates, apparently.
This fall, Tough Justice with High Dorfman. There it is. I'm telling you, he's got a true TV show. He's like a court judge. He's awesome.
Can he come like judge the guys that I date? Like I feel like he'd be better at that.
Maybe you never knew, but you know, I thought High was just that's the usual High, and he's tough. He loves 3 people in his world, 3 people that are going to be taken care of, and that's his wife and his 2 daughters. I mean, bravo to him. I love that about him. I thought he's actually, maybe my memory's gone a little bit, but I thought he was a little softer this time around.
Was he? I don't know. Those
Oh, well, it was
side
against
eyes.
Juan Pablo, so of course he
Yeah.
was a little tough.
Hai's gained almost 1,500 followers today. He's almost at
Wait,
3,000
you're
followers.
tracking how many followers High Dorfman has?
Because Andy tweeted and she linked to his name like a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, and he had like 1,400 followers. He's up to
With
2,898.
23 tweets, a whopping 23 tweets.
That's a great ratio, Hai.
And wait. Can we talk about how he's getting 23,000 retweets on all of his stuff? Like, that's almost as many followers as he has.
No, 2.2 thousand. His last
okay.
tweet, Andy and Josh, all our love. Parents rarely get to see proposals. We are both so happy for you.
Cute.
Well said, Hai.
Okay. All right. So, you know, we have to, first off, forgive me. This is The Bachelor, so a round of applause for the future. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Josh and Andy.
The Murrays.
The Murrays.
Andy Murray. Great tennis player
Andy
now.
Murray.
Yeah, she's got
Yeah.
like,
Who made that joke? Was it Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel made that joke this
Really?
week? Yeah, I laughed really hard. They said, "Good." I've never heard that name before, and they're like Andy Murray, and then they put a picture of him.
yeah, he's a Brit tennis player. Wimbledon.
He won Wimbledon last year.
See?
He's a big deal.
More
I feel
sports.
like Andy's the type of girl that'll make him take her name. Josh Dorfman.
So California. I love it.
Mr. and Mrs. Dorfman.
Josh Dorfman, Andy Murray.
She'll be like, "Oh no, don't worry about the paperwork. Like, we don't have to hire a lawyer. I'll do it for us. I'll submit it for us. Yeah, you just sign here." And you sign here, perfect.
Well, you know what? Okay, well, let's just say, you know what? But Josh, I love this guy to pieces because he makes me, I want to run through a tunnel with this guy. I want to play football. He's so inspiring. He gets my juices going. You know?
Yeah.
In a sports way, to get your head out of the gutter. Good Lord. And
JC.
He gets my juices going too,
Hey,
JC.
He's taken.
Yes, sorry,
Okay.
Cathy.
Sorry.
All right, so, but, you know, we're celebrating, we're very happy, but there was also just on the other side of that, you know, what happened with Nick and some of the things that I've never seen before, and we really have to get into that. So
we do.
Let's dive into the overall, the Meet the Parents, which we already kind of touched.
Meet the Parents, they were a little judgmental. I wanted to note when Josh met the parents, Andi said afterwards, like after he left, there was an interview with her solo, and she said something to the effect of, "Josh could be the one to break my heart for the first time in my life." Break my heart for the first time in my life is a quote. And I was like, what? I don't know if it was out of context or something.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I missed that too.
Yeah,
Interesting.
No. You know, what I don't know, I was kind of judging this. It felt like I was watching, sorry folks, it's reality TV. I was looking at almost like an American Idol finale, where round one I thought went to Nick. I thought the parents meeting with Nick, for some reason, yes.
I thought they liked Josh so much more.
Really?
I just thought that he was so nervous. Later in the date, he clearly got more comfortable, but right when he walked in, that's your first impression.
It was like, awkward a little bit.
Yeah.
With Josh? Are we talking?
with Nick.
Well, technically both of them were, to be honest with you. Josh like kept repeating that he was nervous, and then he made that weird noise when he sat on the couch. He was like, "Ah!" it was a little.
They were both,
He
awkward.
screamed at hi within 5 minutes of meeting. He was like, "Hi." Sorry, stupid.
No, but that stays in line with who they are, because Nick was reserved. You know, I think it was Josh's mom said that he wasn't very demonstrative and whatnot. And that's how I'm sorry, Nick. How Nick was in the beginning of the show. He's the skeptic. It takes you a while to get to him, and once he opened up, as we see what happened throughout the season, he opens up and gives you all so much, to the point that Andy's mom was practically brought to tears when he explained how he felt about her and the way he spoke about it. He
seems like a very calculated person from what we've seen on the show. Like, he's the type where he thinks everything that he says through.
Well, you can tell even the way he catches up in his sentences sometimes, because he's stopping and he's.
Well, I feel like that's how I am. Like, I completely understand that. I was very, very shy growing up, and I feel like there are people who are more articulate with their words and able to get their points across. But
what was that?
No, I'm just saying, like.
Oh, it's Nick. I thought you were pointing at me.
No, I was pointing at you. I'm saying that Nick is. We saw several times tonight where he wasn't able to find his words, and that's because he was blindsided by a situation, and, you know, he typically, I don't know, from my experience, I know that I like to think out what I'm going to say before I say it, just so that I. No,
so
I'm lost for words.
This is a perfect scenario, Cathy. We're live every week.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that's why he was tripped up a little bit when he was at the parents' house and then later in the night. Okay.
Yeah, I just have a hard time. I mean, and I noticed that. Well, I'm jumping ahead, so I'm gonna wait. I just so much I want to say. I want to, you know where I want to go. You guys know with what happened later on, but I'm trying to stay here and just. I felt for Nick. I thought for a second there that I was starting to get this new edit. Oh my gosh, Nick is Nick really going to surprise us all in the end?
I had so many people text me today during the first hour of the show, and they're like, "I think Nick's gonna win."
Yeah.
Friends that I talked to throughout the entire season, and from day one they were all Team Josh, and they were like, "I think Nick's gonna win."
Yep. It
was crazy. I saw my Twitter feed and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, is Nick gonna win?"
I had several of these as well. Okay, so compartmentalize the show, and then after the final rose, you watched the show. Did Nick win a lot of America back in a way of like, we feel bad for the guy. Okay, he is a good guy. Like he did.
I think that it was I don't know whether it was the edit or him in real life, but there were a couple weeks in the middle where they like were turning us against Nick.
Yeah.
Like he was
Not turning us against him, but they weren't presenting him as nicely as they were some other people.
when 6 guys are in a room and they all have something bad to say about one person. I don't know whether they made that into more than it was or
Yeah.
that was the exact situation. They were annoyed at that time. But then I think that we did see later in the season, we saw his genuine side with his family and him, being nervous and vulnerable. Like, I don't know.
And that's why, and this is why I want to save this opinion for the next part, which is their final date, because I do see 2 sides of Nick.
Yeah.
Very much so, and it's once you break that veneer of, and it's not even a veneer and that gets a mask or anything like that, but he's a confident guy, but once you get in that center and you're vulnerable, because he's a very outspoken, like we said, he's articulate, he's very well spoken, but I thought when it got came to shove, and it happened a few times tonight, it happened after the final rose and in their second date, Nick really clammed up. You started seeing this, and I never saw this. Did you guys notice that he was hiding behind his words?
It's thinking. That's the thing, is you're thinking about what you're going to say, and
It's like a
sometimes you
mannerism,
don't
'cause I
know
do
what you're
that.
going to say.
You'll notice, like, I kind of go, I'll go like this, because it's like a subconscious covering your mouth, because you want to hold back, because you want to make sure that before you let it out, you do it. And I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, or like, who did you think would have been a better fit for Andy's family, Nick or Josh?
It's interesting.
We didn't get enough time.
Yeah, I don't think I can make an accurate assumption of that and be fair, because what we saw was just so surface.
Yeah.
I give it up to him. I know we got to move on, but talking about with Josh, I thought it was weird. To the very end, producers are still trying to throw us off.
Yeah.
When Andy was introducing Josh, the first 2 words that two of the words she said in her opening statement to her parents was former athlete, and
Yep.
I know I thought he was a player at first. I wouldn't really
Not a great introduction.
Yes, I wouldn't say that, because if I'm high, and High is paying attention, he's picking up on those 2 words right off the bat. Kathy's disagree. It looks like you're going to disagree.
I don't know. I feel like
Well, I
the
think that was
last
set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like, she had already introduced him, and then right when the camera, like, okay, camera speed, action, and she's like, all right, so you
She
guys
didn't
know I talked
introduce
about
him. No, they catch every first introduction on camera. All of that is on camera.
So you think that was actually literally what she said right before she got him?
Before Josh came in to meet the parents?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it?
Yeah.
You don't think there was a moment where cameras off and she was like, all right, guys, so again, this is like how I feel about Josh. These are my
They
favorite
don't let
moments.
you do that. As producers, they do not let
Really?
you talk when you're not being filmed. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So they catch everything.
Yeah.
So that was really the first thing she says is, as you know, he's an athlete. I kind of thought he was a player at first. I wouldn't. That's like setting him up for like,
Right.
now he's got to swim against the water in his first conversation with them.
Yeah,
Interesting.
That's what baffled me.
Yeah.
And that's why I said it could go the other way.
Yeah.
And that's until the last date. When I don't know if you have any final thoughts on meeting the parents, any interactions, anything that we could add to that. It's just
with my family, like with my mom, the last guy that I dated, I told her when we originally talked about it, I was like, I don't know. Like that, you want to be completely transparent with your friends and your family. And obviously, like, I'm going to be honest with my mom more so than anyone else in the world, because she's the one that, like, I value her opinion more than
Yeah.
anyone else's. So I think that she was just telling her family her true thoughts.
So she was being vulnerable.
She wasn't, like, she wanted them to understand where she was coming from. Like, hey, like, I thought he was a player at first, but he's really genuine. Like, he's surprised me, and everything that he's done, to this point has been honest.
So maybe she is speaking from a place
Yeah.
of, like, she wants them to approach their interactions with Josh where Andy's at. So maybe it really just speaks to how close she is with her family and just reinforces how close she is, because then she's saying, okay, look, I want you guys to feel what I felt and think what I thought, so that when you interact with him, you realize he overcame these things for me. I want him to overcome any doubt you had for you as well.
Okay.
You follow me?
Yeah. No, because I want to harken back. I know we have to move forward, but going back to Andy's mom, when Nick revealed his feelings, do you think those tears were of possibly she's not really feeling Nick as much as Josh? That because she really can't. I don't think she can't tell her parents, right?
I don't think.
But mom's
that
a mother's sense, because of what you said earlier, Kathy, with
mother's sense. I think that they would definitely know which way their daughter's leaning, even if the daughter didn't say that. But I think that it was also a genuine, it's so nice that there is someone who understands how I feel about my daughter. Like, she's like, people, I don't know. I think that's more why she was crying, was because she was like, he's saying such amazing things about my daughter. He clearly loves her. Like, she was probably so overwhelmed and happy that he was saying such nice things.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, no,
because that was also the first date, so she wouldn't have had any time to meet Josh first. Like,
well, we don't know which sequence it was shot.
I don't know. Yeah.
It could have been Josh
It could have been
first.
the other way.
Yeah, it's true.
We do not know that. So, we do have to move on, and this is where I think it really just it changes the whole
Shifts.
scope. We knew that date with Josh, just the way they interacted.
That's what I was gonna say. On the boat, it seemed like there were no cameras there. That's the thing is.
I had the exact same thought. That's funny you say that.
Okay, so this is one of the reasons we've talked about this before. I've watched The Bachelor Canada and I've watched The Bachelor Australia, and both of them. They show those kind of moments, the moments where they're being genuine and just having this back and forth banter with all of the contestants more than they do. Like, we see what tells a story. We don't necessarily see their, like, genuine interactions. And this was what I feel like was a genuine interaction and a telltale sign that they're, it was them all along.
Yeah, the whole date was like that. There was.
They connect. That's a thing. I don't know. Like, have you ever had trouble talking to someone like that you're dating? Like, it just for whatever reason, like, it doesn't connect. Like, you're not able to. They could be. We've talked about this with Courtney. They could be the perfect person for you on paper, and you just don't have that interaction. You've talked about how with your girlfriend. You swing hands when you walk, and it's so comfortable that you don't even think twice about what you say. They're just your better half. They're friendship on fire.
Right. Sure.
That's what it seems like they have.
Yeah, they were giving each other that look when they were on the yacht, and there's a look that Andy was giving to Josh, and I see that look. I see that in what I have. So that's why I hate to editorial, make it about myself, but it's so clear.
And what I wrote in my notes, because I had the same thought, and what I wrote in my notes is that it was like. You could tell both of them looked at each other in a way that, like, there was no cameras around, and that translated to us as a viewer. Like, literally, that's what I wrote. Like, it's like they forgot there's cameras right now, and they're just so wrapped up in each other. And that's what you ultimately want to see. Like, I want to see that. I don't want to see them like, oh, it's lovey-dovey, like they're laughing, it's all for the cameras. But, like, when they finally reach that threshold of, like, they are acting like there's no cameras, we felt that as viewers, and I felt happy for her.
That's the reason why I feel like later on, which I guess I don't know, should I talk about it now?
Sure.
I feel like with Josh, they didn't have that connection that last night, or like on their date. Like, it seemed like Andi was holding something back.
She was.
And they didn't have that banter, and maybe it was just that we didn't see it and they cut out those parts, but it seemed more awkward, it seemed forced, and I think he probably felt it in his gut and he just didn't want to admit it.
Yeah, it was night and day between the two of them. I mean,
like, that's why he was having second thoughts, like, well, I only want to propose to her if I'm positive that I'm the one. He said that.
Yeah, no, and thank you for displaying. I mean, what we should do is maybe just contrast them. Let's just, because there's clear as day, both moments. I mean, he was sitting, once again, I've said it all season, when he's sitting parallel to her. He's not sitting towards her. It's that body language, that shift in the hips. Those little details.
Shifting them hips.
Shifting the hips.
Shift those hips.
Well, I mean, when they were on the date, I think they were having a picnic and eating mangoes or something like that. They weren't touching.
Right.
And Josh and Andi seemed like they were touching the entire time.
Let's compare and contrast the gifts.
From the moments that we saw, we completely understand that, these Bachelor dates, and I'm sure a lot of viewers don't realize, but they're probably, some of them are like 8 hours long with, you're filming the beginning of the date, the end of the date, the interviews, like all of these things.
Yeah.
And we only see 7 minutes of it. So
sometimes.
There are a lot of things that go on that we don't see. But in the moments that we did see, they weren't touching. They didn't have that banter back and forth.
You know, and now that I'm reflecting upon it, because we just finished watching it, 20 minutes ago, and I'm thinking about those moments, like when Josh gave her the baseball card, which was adorable and cute and
Genius.
yeah. And I love the fact that, and I've been saying this since March, errors cannot dance. I'm telling you, Dancing with the Stars. I see it.
my gosh.
I'm gonna see her on that show. I'm telling you, it's perfect.
No.
Kathy's saying
No, that would be amazing. It's just
It's
hilarious.
perfect.
Yeah.
But then then Nick gives her the necklace with the sand on it where he told her, I love
From
you.
the beach, which was
Was-
also clever.
Was that a producer thing to tell them to give gifts? Because I feel like in past seasons, maybe
haven't seen
one
that.
person
Yeah.
of the top 3 is given a gift, not both of the guys in top 2.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. That could be just like a producer, like, hey, might not be a bad idea to like bring a gift here, or we want you to do something clever, so give some thought to it.
It's
And- 'cause
late.
that's not just like something you come up with. That's
Yeah.
some thought. Like Josh's was planned,
Right.
super planned.
I was gonna say it's late at night, guys, so we can't remember. So chat roll, maybe they might help us out if anyone's online. If you guys are watching us live, hello, AfterBuzzTV.com. But if you're not, go to iTunes, go to YouTube, Stitcher.
I remember. I
Do
feel
you?
like people don't do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've noticed that consistently.
People give gifts like occasionally and they're thought out, but I've never seen the final 2 on the, final 2 night, or, on that final date, give a gift at the same time.
Okay. All right. So, oh God, it's heartbreaking. It's you're happy, but it's like you feel you can't be happy for the most part. I'm torn.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking about Nick and how they, right before they went to commercial break, and it's proposal day, and basically she goes to Nick's door, and they go to commercial, and it's like, gosh.
And we think it's gonna be Neil Lane. Nick's face, and when she first walked in, I think he thought for a second like, this is an awesome surprise, like she's coming to surprise me. And then when they come back from commercial and they show like them walking over to the couch, and once it clicks for him, and he was like, that moment where he kind of sat down and he started doing like the deep breaths, like,
I think it clicked when
Oh.
she didn't kiss him. Didn't she not kiss him?
no, she didn't kiss him.
Yeah.
They didn't even hug. She just said, "How you doing? How's it going?"
Yeah.
It's going
So
good.
that's when you know.
But it was after like 7 or 8 seconds of like, "Hey," and he was like
Yeah.
kind of giddy, like,
They were
"What are you
probably in
doing here?"
shock.
And then she was like, "How's it going?" And he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh," and he was kind of.
I have to say, I mean, I saw it when, we'll talk about it after the final rose. I saw it with both sides of them tonight. Like, I agreed with both of their arguments. But it's very classy of what she did to not let him get down on one knee
Yeah.
and ruin that experience for him again. Like, that's, I don't know.
Chat rolls chiming in real quick while we're talking about the gifts. Jeff and Ari, Ian the Walrus. Shout out to Ian the Walrus who's talking to us on chat roll. She said Jeff and Ari both did, and also they've done it before, but they don't always show it.
Oh, okay.
So.
Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah.
There we go. You're
Coming
our
through.
4th host. All right. But there's good and bad. And here's the thing. It is at such an emotional peak, especially for all of them. And I'm thinking about Andi at this moment because at first I was kind of put off when she said it was the overanalyzing that when she
Yeah.
gave the bad news to
What?
Nick. She attributed it to the overanalyzing, and that wasn't it.
That wasn't it, and that was one of the things that pissed me off about
I didn't think that was
her.
fair,
Yeah,
yeah.
it wasn't fair because he asked so many times. He's like, was it the other relationship? It seemed like he was trying to get at that, like, is it because of the other relationship? And she was so quick to say that tonight, but she didn't say that in that moment.
Right, and this is
maybe
what
it
I
was
wrote.
just they cut that out.
Well,
but
no, I wrote it. I don't think so. I think that was pretty unedited there because I wrote this down too because he asked her, he goes, was it us or was it the other relationship? And she did one of these numbers where she looked at him, I hate this. And she goes,
Yeah, she didn't say
that's
anything.
an obvious, that's saying it without saying
Right.
it, but like, say it. That was your opportunity
I
to
get
own
not
it.
wanting to hurt someone's feelings,
But at that point,
there's
it's
a
inevitable.
line, yeah, where she was so classy with when she let Cody go, when she let Chris go. She
Mm-hmm.
explained the situation and she explained her feelings and why it didn't work. And I don't think that she ever gave him closure, and that's why he's still upset about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Rightfully so.
But
And I think if and we'll talk about this more later, but like what he did call her out on, if that that would be a number one question in my mind.
It's a cop-out excuse to break up with someone. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's because you overanalyze. no, it's because you're dating someone else that you like more.
And she's, like you said, she said that before in other seasons. It's progressed quicker. It's a stronger connection.
Yeah.
She could have said that, but in the end, like I said, the stakes were so high that day. I mean, I'm defending her the fact that she's human in this. At this moment, she's been. Like Sean Lowe, we always look at him as the textbook bachelor who did just about everything right, but I'm guaranteed there's moments where he said, I wish I could take back. And I guarantee she feels that way right now.
I've had guys that I haven't wanted to go out with after a second date, and I would tell them exactly why, just so that they have closure, so that they don't wonder why, like, I'm not texting them back or something. I think that that's just respectful.
It's honorable.
I get it. I agree with you guys, but I'm just saying the gravity of the day, of everything going on. We've always said it's romance on steroids, but at that point, that's the day she was, that Joshua is going to propose to her. She's got all these things. I know in a perfect world, she could say it. I just think that was one of those moments that she wished she could have back.
It seemed
That's
like
all.
she was getting angry at him. This is the other thing. When he started saying, well, I wish you wouldn't have said, some of the things that you said. Like, I wish you hadn't done that. She started getting angry.
Yeah.
What do you think? Why do you think she got angry?
He said she took it too far.
Yeah.
And did she? What else could she have done?
I think that it almost, like, I don't know.
Chat roll on YouTube. Let us know, guys.
And Joseph chimed in. He said this. Joseph Boza just chimed in the chat roll and said this, and I agree. He said that Andy crossed that line, and the producers made Nick out to be a stalker because he wanted closure. Like, it kind of got the stalker edit. But I didn't feel like that. I would feel the same way as Nick. Like, I
would
want the closure.
Okay.
I think sometimes relationships end, and in your mind, you have all these feelings like, oh, that person led me on, they're such a jerk, like whatever else. And you want to tell them that, but then when you finally see them, it doesn't matter. It's like, you know what? Like, I don't really know what to say to you. Especially, I mean, for him, he probably did want to say a lot of stuff. Some stuff he did say, and he probably shouldn't have tonight. He did want to say a lot of stuff, and he couldn't because he knew that it was on TV.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to look like a jerk, and he didn't want her.
Well, you see how many times we should have counted how many times he went like this and like kind of like just like we talked about earlier, like was holding things back, and then he even said he's like, I thought I'd have a lot more to say. Like it almost could have ended right there when she first came out, and he said like one sentence, he was like, I thought I'd have a lot more to say.
That's the worst feeling too, is like feeling like you have so many things that you want to get out and you need to say to get closure, and then finally seeing that person and either not remembering it or not being able to say it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, later on feeling like you didn't.
Let's dive into that a little more because we still got to give Josh's
the proposal and stuff.
The proposal, what the show is about, you know. And all right, thoughts. Okay, let it rip because I know we have. Josh, I said I'm gonna put myself out there. To me, he reminds me of a Disney character. He's like this Prince Charming. Hi, hello, I am here to marry you. Ha ha ha. And that, you know what?
That's amazing.
Can you
That's
open
so
Bachelor
dead
in
on.
Paradise with that next week?
No, but you know what? A lot of people are saying, God, it's so cheesy. Oh my God, it's so cliche. But it's perfect.
I thought that he was joking when he was saying some of this stuff. It was, I mean,
Which parts?
I love them together.
Yeah.
I think that they're freaking perfect for each other, and I really love them together. But when he was saying those things to her, I thought that he was going to be like make some joke out of it or something.
Like there was a pun about to come?
It just seemed so rehearsed. And I get that, like, when a guy wants to propose to someone, they like think of what they want to say in their head, and he's had days on end by himself in a room with no internet, phone, whatever. So he has a lot of time to rehearse.
He did
probably
say
in the mirror, like.
He did say he stayed up all night going over it. So
Yeah,
I'm sure it was.
But it was just almost too much.
That's just the way
The things were so sweet, but it was almost overshadowed by
the first half of it.
It
was
sounded
great.
ingenuine by it being rehearsed, even though I know that he genuinely does feel those feelings.
The first half, it was great. It was when it carried on to the second half a little bit for me. I was like, okay, you're saying the same things over. Like that's when it got a little redundant. Too much for me.
It's almost like a football coach getting the team. I felt like I could feel that motivation, and they're gonna have a football team. I really want them to have a football team, but I felt like
that is a lot of babies.
I'm sorry. No, I felt
like a
he's kind of
basketball
like
team.
I want to call him like Cinderfella.
Cinderella. That's his Disney name.
Yeah, Cinderella. There you go.
But yeah, like, I mean, he really laid it. Like, he really laid it out in a. It was well spoken. It was probably the most articulate and confident I've heard him be in his words the entire season. Is what he said there, because he's confident in what he says, but sometimes he just like will repeat things and rephrase them, and that's what he did with Hai when he was sitting there. He's like, "I'm really in love with your daughter, man. You have a daughter, and I love her a lot. And there's a daughter that one of your daughters, her name's Andi. I'm really in love with." Like, but he said things in the best way possible. I have to give him his props.
There was a speech. We go to a Bible study together. There was a speech that Judah Smith gave about people that talk a lot and people that talk too little, or not
enough.
What was the thing that people that talk too much, like they just love to hear their voice? Like, I mean, I'm saying I am that type of person too.
No, I am too. Like, I loved it. What am I gonna say next? I don't know what's gonna come out of my mouth, but I'm gonna love it.
I feel like Josh is that person where he's just like, so what do you want? Like, you want this? Oh, cool. Like, I don't know. It's continuing to talk. Like,
you just continue to like.
You ask the same question 3 times in a row until the person answers.
Yeah, you regurgitate it and rephrase it in different
ways.
How
you doing? You're feeling good? You look like you're feeling good.
Yeah, you must be feeling good, right?
You're feeling happy though, because you're smiling, right?
Yeah, you're smiling. You must be feeling fantastic. I'm so with you on this.
I am overwhelmed.
It's not a bad thing at all. It's just the type of person that he is, which I think is hilarious.
And perfect.
It works well for them, even though I feel like they're both people that like to talk. It works.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you think, so after he gave his whole spiel, then it was Andi's turn. And she starts talking, and there's a moment where after she was like smiling at the beginning, and then she kind of got serious-faced and looked to the side and wasn't doing direct eye contact anymore. Where I feel like for a second, you could see on his face that he was like, holy, like maybe it's not me. Like for a split second. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did. Actually, it was I picked up a pause. Even it was a nanosecond of a pause, and I was like,
a nanopause.
Yeah, no, yeah. I really did, but I was just.
And big Cinderella got scared.
I don't know. Maybe he didn't. I did.
Not scared. There was a small hesitation.
And this is like Trista and Ryan, Allie and Roberto. Loved you from the moment I saw you.
Which you said, one of you guys said it. You said it, Cathy. She was like, that's gotta make Nick feel like absolute ish.
Yeah.
Watching that back.
Yeah.
Right. What are the repercussions? So why exactly? Well, how does Nick not end up bitter?
Because he's an adult who's a mature.
That is why.
Guy.
So she was getting, or she seemed like she was getting angry. She might not have been in that moment. I don't know what Andi was thinking, but in that moment when she was breaking up with Nick. And she seemed like she was getting angry when he was getting defensive. I don't know where I'm going with this. I had it in my mind and now I can't remember.
With Nick?
Yeah.
What's up?
We've lost the rails over here, guys.
Did you say Danny?
It's late.
It's really late. No, no. What I want to know is, let's move on to after the final.
I remember what I was going to say. No, the way that he comes out of this is he realizes it was producers. It wasn't him. It almost feels like, someone told me this the other day, it feels like the Hunger Games. Like when they're having the Bachelor style thing, Chris Harrison is the interviewer on the Hunger Games, and it's, Katniss and whoever. And
tell us about your dress there.
It's fake.
Andi?
I'm not saying that the feelings are fake, but this is so staged. Like a lot of the stuff is rehearsed. Like you don't realize that when she's walking out there and she looks gorgeous, that she has a makeup team like 30 seconds before she walks out, hairspraying her and like doing all this and whatever else. Like there's so many things that you don't see that go into this. I mean, the fact that after the final rose, she was like in such shock after Nick, and 3 minutes later after commercial break, she is the happiest person in the world.
Yeah.
That is not a normal thing.
That was hard.
This is not a normal situation.
It is the illusion of television.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And I mean, I guess let's move on to after the final rose. And you're so right about that. And I think that's where we had the hardest time. Danny, yes.
Wait, there was one thing we have to talk about.
What's that?
After she's like, I love you, baby. It's been you the whole time. And then the way he was looking at her, he looked like he was gonna like eat her face
yeah.
off. Whoa, did you notice that?
Yes. No,
He looked like he just wanted to have sex with her right
Yeah,
then.
like he was
That's what it
literally
looked
about
like.
to jump her bones. My God.
Well, they're in love, and it's unabashed love. It's that love that some people like going, huh?
But that's the other thing
awesome.
with him looking like he was gonna eat her. It was another moment where it looked like there weren't cameras there, and they're being goofy. Those are goofy moments that I would have with a boyfriend, not on
True.
camera.
Yeah.
So how awesome is that?
Yeah.
But they can't not have it on camera.
That's what's
Exactly.
Okay,
But
Danny
that's
thought he
why
was
I
gonna.
feel like it's real.
Yeah, he thought that you thought Josh was gonna eat. I thought he was gonna lick her.
He was like, he was so red the whole time. He was like, I mean, do you see
He
it?
was
Like,
sweating towards the
it
end.
was like his hair was wet. He was sweating. I mean, I would be too. Like you're in a tropical island and you're in a thick suit. But like he kicked off his shoes.
That was a nice suit too.
That suit was amazing. That was
Props.
a great suit. Josh, that was the best dressed you were all season. But he kicked off he did the dark brown shoes with the blue suit. I thought it was a great pairing. But he left the shoes there, took off the jacket, picked her up, and started walking towards the water. I didn't know what was going to happen. They're like, are they going to jump in together? Like,
Well, I think it was like they're like, okay, now you can walk away, and like I think that he was like, oh, well, I'm gonna pick her up and we're gonna leave, and we're like,
but
you
he
know,
kicked off his shoes, and they were walking towards the water, like out to the end of the dock. So I didn't know, like. But then they showed them sitting there with like swinging their legs. So maybe it was just like a
I
little
think he
like
just wanted to be cute.
sitting on the dock of the bay, sitting on the dock.
We'll
of
have
the
to pay
bay,
someday. You can't sing. We'll have to.
watching the tide.
Okay. All right,
I don't
Danny.
know. It just popped in my head.
Let's move into after.
I can't
after
help it.
the
I'm
final rose.
sorry.
It's midnight. It's late.
It's late.
Let's get into after the final rose, and they start off, of course, on the somber note of Nick and his mom and his family, and you know, what was your first impression? I mean, from his family, just the mother. I mean,
I had a couple people tweet me and say that they were filming Nick in Milwaukee and asking if it was because he was going to be the next Bachelor. Now, tonight, obviously, we know that that's not the case. It was more because it was such a somber moment and they wanted to show, you know, how his family felt because he has gone through a heartbreak
Yeah.
before.
I almost don't want to say. It's just, it almost seemed like, you know how you want these stories to go on in the happy end of it, but do you think? And I could get a lot of hot water for this, but do you almost think the producers? But no, because Andy was behind this, but almost exploited Nick's vulnerability of going through the situation because this is the worst case scenario for Nick to go through. He was hurt.
I think
Not
that
exploited, but they know it's
producers,
valuable.
producers a lot of the time find people that have been hurt before because they hope, like, this sounds really awful, but producers want someone to get hurt on television because it makes good television. So
Right.
they're going to find someone that has had a heartbreak before and then try to recreate it, as awful as that sounds.
No, they don't try to recreate it. It's the situation creates it itself.
Yeah.
The producers aren't trying to create it. And here's the thing: when you sign up for the show, you know this. Like you know.
But you're
hold on,
going
but
in
you
with
know
a-
this. You go in with a hopeful heart.
Yeah.
Which is what Nick did, and any other guy. What Dylan has hurt, and Marcus, and we know these people have hurt. You go in with a hopeful heart, but it's part of in the back of your mind. You know that you could come out hurt. You just don't know how hurt you might be. And in Nick's case, I don't really think the producers saw Nick going this far. And so when it happened, I think they're like, well, this is valuable TV. I don't think they weren't exploiting him. I think it was just they took it and saw it and ran with it because it does make great TV.
Great point. Perfectly said. You know,
But that's also one of the other things is like you go in thinking that, you know, it'll, like, even if you've watched the show before, you don't realize the moments that everyone else, not the final one, but everyone else has with the Bachelor or Bachelorette. Like, I feel like there's so many times when the Bachelor or Bachelorette could say something in a normal relationship. You could say like, "Oh, well, I'm dating other people," or like whatever. I don't know. Like there are normal things that you could tell a person. Like, "Hey, you know, like I really like you. I'm not there yet." If someone says "I love you" and you're not there yet, some of the time, some people might be like not say anything back. But for the most part, I feel like people are like, "Oh, you know, like I really like you. I care about you. I'm not there yet." Or I actually have feelings for someone else. Like that's like you would
Or
have
several other people.
the Bachelor, Bachelorette person, like they have to lead everyone on until a rose ceremony, essentially. Like that's in their contract. That's the show.
You know, and
You don't expect that. You don't know that going in.
Well, I don't think you think through that part of it. You
Yeah.
think through all the other positive things. You don't think through like, okay, let's say I'm in this moment and I have to do this, and I have two guys staring at me who I both actually have kind of fallen in love with now. Like, you don't think through that moment. You think through, we're gonna be in Marseille and like we're gonna have these awesome dates, and you think through like the fun, positive times. I would fast forward these hard decisions I have to make because nobody wants to do that. So you don't dwell on that, you know?
And I haven't heard one person who has been on The Bachelor or Bachelorette who has said, oh yeah, the first day that I got there, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be in love by the end of this. They all say that they went there for the experience, and then halfway through, you start developing these feelings, and they feel real because you're in that fishbowl situation where the only thing that you have to do to spend your time when you're not with the person is think about that person.
Is that true? Because it just happened tonight where Josh and Andi said they knew from the jump. When she first saw him, she knew.
Here's what
he
I
know?
think she knew. When
She said that.
She said that. She said, I knew.
She said she knew that. Did
the
he
first
know?
time she laid it on. I don't know. I think that they knew there was a connection.
Yeah.
Because I knew, we've talked about, Cathy and I talked about this. Like, I know there's been people I've seen before, and I knew right away that there was something
Yeah.
there. I couldn't tell you that I'm in love with this person, but like I knew there was something there, and I want to know more about it. But you can also feel that from more than one person. It doesn't always, no. Because I've seen people before and be like, well, I'm super intrigued. Like, I feel something for that person. You might hang out once or twice, and you're like, oh, yeah, I like it. I still think they're attractive and very cool human, but it doesn't mean I'm in love with them.
I can tell before a first date whether I'm gonna be interested or like what's gonna be wrong with that person or what's going to end the relationship or whatever it is. Like, you can tell.
But let's talk about Nick. The fact that he said when he showed up in all black, I was like, my gosh, he's just mourning. Chris asked him, you know, what was the hardest part of the rejection? He said, her slipping through my fingers. But in essence, did she really, if her heart was always promised to someone else? It's from his perspective,
He could have done more.
She slipped through his fingers, but when all along her heart was already with someone else the whole
so that
time.
just says a lot about where Nick's at in this place in dealing with these emotions. It's a lot of reflective as opposed to like analyzing her and how she played this. He's overanalyzing himself, like what could I have done different, which is classic what we do as humans. We analyze like, well, how could I play this different?
Yeah.
What could I have said here? Could I have texted well, not in his case, but that's how we play it, is how could we have done something different when it wasn't his fault?
That's the thing, is that, I mean, one of the things that she said, one of the points she made, which I agree with, and I've been saying this entire season, is she could have had a great relationship with Nick outside of the show, and it might have never gotten to the point of engagement. She could have had a great relationship with 4 or 5 of these guys outside of the show, but it would have never progressed to that point. Like, they could have a great 2-year relationship or a 1.5-year relationship, 6-month relationship outside of the show. I think that he was thinking, what did he do wrong? And that's a natural reaction,
classic,
like you said. But it's more about thinking, okay, whoever they choose in the end, it's not that they're a better person than you, they're a better fit for that person.
Right. And I thought this was so classy of Nick, the way he talked about Josh, which it says a lot about it. Like he realizes it watching it back, and I don't think he was. I believe him when he said, "I came to see her because I didn't want to pepper you with questions." Like I like the way he said that. He's like, I wasn't trying to pepper you with questions. That's
what Ari did in Emily's season with like Jeff. He's like, Jeff is one of my best friends. I respect him so much. I just wanted closure.
Right, and it's how he said it. He said
Ari went to Emily's house with a letter after she had already picked Jeff. This is a very similar situation.
And he goes, Nick said Josh is a great guy with a great heart, and I don't think and I really liked this answer. He goes, I don't think it's fair for me to judge if Andi made a mistake, because it's not. Chris asked, do you think Andi made a mistake? And Nick goes, well, I don't think that's fair for me to judge. I'm really glad he answered that way, because it is 100% not. He can't say that and then he goes on to say, well, Josh is respectful and he's honorable, and I know he won't take her for granted.
It started well. It started well.
I think that it was the fact that he never got that full closure that final day in Antigua. She kind of gave him a cop-out answer for why it wasn't him, as opposed to saying, I have stronger feelings for Josh.
Right.
Because if she had said that, then I feel like he would have been like, oh, okay, it's not me, it's Josh.
Right.
And that's why he didn't have that closure. And then I feel like the 3 months from when they ended taping to now, the last day of after the final rose ceremony, the producers, even though Nick tried to see her twice, I genuinely don't think that was Andi saying no. I think it was the producer saying, no, we want that for live television.
Which turned out to be one of the best After the Final Roses ever. It's probably
the most revealing.
One most revealing and one of the most talked about.
Yeah,
but
thoughts on that?
Well,
I
thought it was really interesting that Nick said, I don't feel like watching this back. I'm noticing things and being like, oh, that makes sense. I thought that was really interesting.
That's hard.
That's really hard because usually you'd think like, oh, well, like here's an interaction between her and Josh I never got to see. That makes sense. But like I agree with him. Watching it back, like
you also feel like that's
she was really giving.
It's
Nick
an awful
signals.
feeling. You feel duped. Like that's such an awful
said that.
feeling.
He goes, I feel like such a fool. Yeah, feels duped.
But you know how we always say that we don't see all of it? And the fact that that's what he's seen. So he's seen all the highlights of the story. So he didn't see all the other moments with Josh and Andi. And I'm sure he should know
to see
this.
even that little bit, to see 7 minutes, to see 1 minute, sucks.
I know I'm not trying to be a masochist about it, but it's just the fact that to see the whole story. Because the fact that he's just seen those little snippets, there's still even more context. But I want to move on. We have to the repercussions of what he said.
Well, here's the thing. I want to ask you this. Yeah. I don't think he went in there planning to say that.
No, I think that
not.
was word vomit.
That's a word. So
what was the exact quote that he said?
Here's the reason I ask you this. So if it's word vomit, I feel like if you went in there and it was premeditated and he looked at her right away and that was the first question out of his mouth, then I think that's an asshole move. Excuse my language. But if he did it the way he did it, which obviously he did, I don't think he should have said it. I think it's a little below the belt, like Andi said. However, I don't think he planned to. It came out, and it's a fair question to ask because that is a little messed up on Andy's part.
I think that that's why he probably wanted to talk about this before, is because he wanted to be like, why did you,
So to answer your question, repercussions?
Sleep with me if...
Yeah,
I don't think there will be a ton. He might get a little hate from like Cathy, Lee, and Hoda, but I don't
mean that. I don't even. But let's see. So what's gonna happen with Josh and Andi?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
Josh walked out there like it didn't happen.
Well, because I don't think that he saw that. Usually they have a room where you're secluded and you don't watch the show.
So do you think, I'm sure the question was posed by Josh or it was offered by Andi, but do you think she revealed the truth?
I wonder if she told Josh before this.
I would hope she would.
This is a line that he said during the finale, not during After the Final Rose. He's like, I know everything about you. And then he talked about like certain things, which I was like, do you really know everything about her when you've probably had 48 hours of actual time together?
Same thing.
That was kind of weird. But then he did say a couple things that I was like, oh, he remembers like little, like, oh, her parents were together 4 months and then 9 months and her sister and like that kind of thing. So it did show that he listened and he knew a lot of stuff about her.
But even in 9 weeks, there's no possible way you know all
everything.
That stuff. And I would really hope that Andi told him. I would hope it happened before tonight or even today. Like I would hope it happened.
That probably sucks for him. Like I'm sure he probably got a lot of tweets from fans like, oh, did you know that she slept with Nick? Like,
and
that
of course he's going
suck.
to play it like I knew. Here's my thing. If she tells him...
He's not going to say anything back. He's not going to play it like he knew.
He's not going to respond to any... Well, he did respond to the lie detector thing in a cryptic way. He was my name is Josh, not...
I think that was a joke to make him not look bad.
Well, he could...
That was more defending himself.
Because fans will probably pepper him, to use Nick's words, pepper them both with questions.
Yeah.
To be fair, they weren't exclusive at the time.
Right.
Even though, but if she said that she knew that she loved Josh from the moment that she met him, why would she sleep with him?
Then it's a little messed up. And if I'm Josh, here's my thing. If I'm Josh, okay, and right after the show wraps, after all this happens, you finally can sneak over to each other's house. You have secret rendezvous. You're talking on the phone. The conversation's gonna come up. You're gonna talk about more past history and things like this. It's gonna come up. If Andy's like, "Hey, look, I need you to know something up front. This happened. I regret it, but it happened, and I want to be honest with you." Josh cannot get mad about it again.
Hold on, but let me ask you guys this: how would you feel if you were Josh?
I'd be pissed off.
Didn't know.
What I would feel like if I was pissed, or if I was Josh, and Andi told me, I would be pissed off at Nick for not being a gentleman in that moment.
How do you know Josh didn't
I would
happen with
defend
Andi and Josh
Andi.
Too?
What?
How do you know it didn't happen with Andi and Josh too?
I'm just saying Josh's feelings. Yeah, the fact that it was revealed, I would say, like, you weren't a gentleman in that moment revealing this to all of America.
There's 10 million people watching this.
If she hadn't told him, it depends on why she hadn't told him, because I'm sure that they had a conversation. Andy probably had a conversation with them in person and just saying, you know, you're going to see me kiss guys, you're going to see my relationships develop with them, but just know that it was you the entire time. And either he said, okay, well, don't tell me about the moments of everything else. Like, we don't want to talk about what happened. We are exclusive from here on out, and our relationship begins now moving forward. So maybe they agreed not to talk about it, or if she purposefully did not tell him that, I would kind of be pissed.
I gotta bring this up off the chat roll. Guest 82 just brought this up, and this is a really good point. Ashley slept with Ben, but JP stood by her side, and they're still together.
Oh, yeah. He
fantastic.
mentioned that, too.
Great point, Guest 82,
Thank
whoever you
you.
are. Very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've been going off on this for a while, because I was kind of sad in the fact, I know that in the end this is about the celebration of Josh and Andy finding love, but what I was sad was that this was, you know, I wish Chris would have found a way to explore that with Josh and Andy, what Nick said in that next segment.
They didn't have enough time.
Yeah, that's why Chris cut it. You could tell.
Yes.
Chris cut it, and Nick
He
was
had
like,
to. Well done as well.
yeah, Chris did a great job. And you know what? They didn't replay. Did you say this, or I read this earlier in the chat roll? They never replayed the engagement in After the Rose, which is like the highlight of the show, because it was
They
a great
usually
engagement.
do that, yeah.
Because they didn't have time. Nick's thing went that long.
So why not cut out Grumpy Cat?
Yeah, cut out Grumpy
That was
Cat. That's so dumb.
cheesy.
That's a waste of our time. I mean, it's funny, it's frou-frou, but like,
They
cut that
needed
out.
to lighten the mood again. But yeah, they should have just replayed that.
I would have rather watched them replay it and I would have rather watched Andy and Josh watch that engagement and like have a camera on their reactions.
They
I
do
wanna
that
see
every-
that.
yeah,
You know what I
they
mean?
do
Like,
that every
that's the
season.
shot I want to see.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
the shot America wants to see.
Yeah. I mean, because in the end, like we said, it's their celebration. And
Yeah.
for everything that we saw, and we've devoted a lot of time with what happened there, but in the end, I think it's just Andy and Josh's exuberant attitude. They're positive. Yes.
I figured something out.
What?
It was bothering us while Josh was rubbing his left eye the entire time. It's because of the cat. He's probably allergic to cats.
You
But
conspiracy theorist.
that
you.
was later that the cat came out.
Yeah,
I
but the
think,
cat was in the building.
I think that it was his contact was messed up, and so he was like fixing it.
He was like digging.
My contact fell out while I was driving earlier today, so I was like like 30 minutes on Laurel Canyon, like holding my eye.
Focus,
so
Cathy
it happens.
Kelley.
It happens. No, I'm backing up Josh and his
Okay.
eyeball rubbing.
Well said.
Josh, let us know. Was
Yes.
it the cat? Was it your contact? Or was it just straight up tiredness? Sleep deprivity.
This season has kicked my butt. I'm telling you, it was fantastic because at the very end, we got what we wanted. So does it make us forget about last season? See, that's another reason I think it stayed on track with, we didn't devote a lot of time with what happened with Nick when he said that, because they want to get away from Juan Pablo. Get away
Big
from
time,
that.
yeah.
But then why did they show Claire Crawley and talk about?
Because she's going to be up next week.
I know.
She was. I think she played it well, though.
Yeah.
She said
No,
someone. She didn't
yeah.
take a straight up dig. She
Yeah.
she played it well.
She actually, I really thought that what she said was very classy.
Yeah. And it's honest. I agree with her.
My one problem with After the Final Rose on the producer's standpoint is, why do you have a couple of I get that you're trying to promote Bachelor in Paradise. Why would you have a couple of Andy's exes in the front row
especially
watching this?
one.
Because that's probably hard on them and awkward for her to be like, oh, I'm in love with this guy, haha.
Yeah.
Like,
So misstep, you're saying, okay.
I think that it was a misstep to have Chris there, Cody there, whoever else was there from, yeah.
Okay, so misstep. So what were some of the pluses of this season before we wrap up?
Like they should have just, even if they wanted to promote the show Bachelor in Paradise, okay, so they have them for the segments before Andy comes out,
take 'em out of
and
the
then
room.
they have seat fillers that
seat
come
fillers.
in.
I agree. Some people are chiming in and they're saying it's between Chris and Ari, by the way, for the next Bachelor. And I want to bring this up because when Chris Harrison said there are candidates in the room and everybody started chanting Chris, Chris, Chris about Farmer Chris, he put his head down and he had a smile like guilty as charged. Did you see this?
No.
Well,
It was all over his face.
but
that,
that's one of those things, is they approach multiple people every single
Right.
time, and you don't know until you
he might
sign
not
that
know for
freaking
sure.
contract.
But he obviously America wants him. They listen to America and who we want.
Yeah,
I think
the fact that they had that Chris chant, I feel like it's undeniable. They wouldn't have had Michelle Money stage that question
right.
if they didn't expect to get that response.
Okay.
Michelle Money looked good too.
Yeah, she did.
She always looks good.
She always
Absolutely.
she looked real good.
met her today in person, so she was fantastic. I got this little
Was she wearing that dress when you met her?
No, absolutely. She looked just as smashing early this afternoon. So, and it's a little video few videos. I got a chance to interview a couple of Graham, let's see, Sarah, and also Michelle Money for the upcoming season for Bachelor in Paradise.
Previews of possibilities, people we would love to have as guests.
Absolutely, we're working on that.
Some are already confirmed.
Yes, they are.
Won't say which ones, but some of those 3 people are already confirmed.
They rhyme with Bam Done.
That's called a tease, everybody.
And,
Okay, we got to get out of here. We're what 4 hours here now?
And Crap Halter.
It's late here, guys.
Why do you like hate on him so much on our
AfterBuzz
show?
TV Nation.
No, I love that. I'm saying I'm rhyming on his
just
name.
think
I don't know.
Crap and Zach do not rhyme whatsoever.
I was just trying to think of something.
You two are like first graders right now. I'm serious. It's like you're gonna throw rocks at her.
Hack Zalter? Sorry,
Look,
Zach.
we're getting the music, guys. We got to get out of here. No time for predictions. They're giving us the rapper.
Predictions, okay.
Quick prediction.
Chris is the next Bachelor, and there will be some crazy girls on next season.
Any romance on Bachelor in Paradise?
Who's the girl crying in the bathroom? Is it Michelle Money, yes or no?
I think it's Michelle Money.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
We saw.
You know for sure?
I'm not saying that,
Sure.
but I don't.
So in the
I don't
extended
think it's her.
preview that we saw tonight, Michelle Money is making out with Cody. If you look closely enough.
Oh, serious?
Yeah.
That's surprising. Is that why Graham was crying? Oh,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I will say this, that Michelle Money said some things in our little chat that tells me that she is really, really ready for love.
You had your private chat roll?
But not with anyone on the show.
I'm not sure. She wouldn't give it
So
up.
you're not allowed to give a prediction. Whatever.
All right,
I'm just
fine.
excited that we get to come back. I can't do life without you guys. I love this is my Monday night crew. You guys and then everybody at home with the chat rolls and all the people chiming in and then the tweets. I love you guys.
Bachelor in Paradise is going to be fun. We don't know what to expect, but it'll be cool.
BIP.
With that said, so Danny, where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Danny Hoyt, DANNY. Did I spell it right? DANNY.
Whoa.
HOYT on Twitter and the Instas.
And my lovely Cathy Kelley.
You can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley and on Instagram at Cathy Kelley, just to make it confusing.
And look, a confusing night, but a quick shout out to all the wonderful fans from Joseph Boza to everyone who just sends us all their messages.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do the show without you. We're super fans like you, so thank you.
Scott McDougal.
Yes, Scott McDougal, our true East Coast correspondent. There you go.
Sending us stuff
And
every
Chris
week.
Minji. Did I
Love
say
him.
it right?
Yes, he had some great
Yes.
tweets tonight. So for
he did.
all the fans, I'm JC Rubio on Instagram and Twitter. Wait, JC Rubio
Oh wait,
TV.
Chris, I do think Andy's one of the top 3 Bachelorettes ever. I agree with you.
Gosh, it's like word vomit with us here
I had to
tonight.
get it out. I told her I
There's
wanted
so
to
much more that we want to talk about, but we're being cut short like all of the segments on the After the Final Rose tonight. So follow us all on Twitter and we'll continue the conversation.
Yes.
Perfect for the after show. So we'll see you next season, or better yet, next week. See ya.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the
Fun
views
fact.
of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Yeah. Sean Lowe's season, Sean wasn't supposed to be the Bachelor.
Thank
It
you
was
for
supposed to
watching
be
AfterBuzz
Roberto.
TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews,
Roberto,
subscribe to our
a
channel
month before
here,
filming,
and be sure to
got
share
a
your opinion
girlfriend.
on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.